Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Relief. Business community reacts to end of COVID-19 containment measures. Government to pump millions in reopening of entertainment sector. And later in sports, West Indies women secure third win at World Cup. I'm Giovanni Dennis and here are the details. Up first this afternoon, relief in the business community as the measures under the Disaster Risk Management Act come to an end. The nightly curfews and a number of other restrictions ended at midnight following an announcement yesterday by Prime Minister Andrew Holness that measures under the act will be lifted. As Cody and Barrett reports, some business operators say this is a major first step to recovery.
All argument done now as far as I am concerned. We need to go back to where we can live.
After 2 years of COVID-19 restrictions, many Jamaicans are now gearing up to return to somewhat normal life. Somewhat because though the measures will largely end, some will be retained under the Public Health Act. Among them, persons who test positive for COVID-19 are required to isolate. President of the Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce, Janet Silvera, has lauded the government for lifting the Disaster Risk Management Act, DRMA. She says the business community in St. James is well prepared and ready to go.
Businesses, particularly those who are involved in entertainment, have had to close sometimes by 7 o'clock in the evening when it was curfew time for 8 o'clock. Then midnight closure, so they have to close by 11 o'clock. They are not making any money. They have had to bear with COVID for the last 2 years. And those members welcome this announcement, this decision by the government.
The last 2 years were the toughest for micro businesses as they were forced to halt their operations due to the measures imposed by the government to slow the spread of COVID-19. Now the lifting of the DRMA could also mean the first step to recovery for many small business owners.
It couldn't have come at a better time. I think we have seen the improvements. It was expected, so you can see the vendors are upbeat. They were looking forward to it. And I think the Prime Minister really delivered on his promise, to reopen back the country in a timely manner and a timely fashion. And we're really happy for the break.
We can have a free time again, and free up the dancehall again and them things the same. And the jerk man, if you make our money, soup man, everybody get our money, So we give thanks to that, so Mr. Prime Minister. So big up yourself and carry on the good work,
In the meantime, Ms. Silvera says the government must maintain the practice of testing visitors for COVID-19 upon their arrival in the country.
I agree that needs to continue for now because the health and welfare of our people is tantamount. It's very important that persons who are coming to Jamaica are tested before. I also feel that if you have been tested positive, then obviously you need to isolate. But after 2 years, it is time.
Cody and Barrett, TVJ News.
And we now take a break to go to a race at the World Indoor Championships. And the Jamaican government will be pumping millions of dollars to support the reopening of the entertainment sector, which has been severely impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Prime Minister Andrew Holness gave details on Thursday during his contribution to the budget debate. Andrea Chisholm reports.
#Outside, something entertainment stakeholders have been looking forward to as the COVID-19 pandemic has left many of them broke. To help kickstart activities, the Chase Fund will set aside $150 million.
This will be used to help musicians, entertainers, theatre production companies, and promoters of festivals and events. More details, including criteria for access, will be made available shortly.
This is in addition to an economic rehabilitation grant of up to $1 million per beneficiary. Discounts too from municipal corporations.
For the first 6 months, permit fees will be cut by 50%.
Government entities will also examine if it's possible to cut the cost for renting venues. The Development Bank of Jamaica DBJ will be stepping in to lend money, $500 million in total for its Special Entertainment Restart Loan Facility.
Under this facility, $250 million will be reserved for micro-enterprises, including vendors supporting the entertainment industry. Micro-enterprises will be able to access loans of up to $750,000 from the DBJ-accredited microfinance institutions for working capital, equipment, and refinancing.
DBJ will also reserve $250 million for small and medium-sized enterprises. When the facility is launched in April, each entity will be able to get up to $5 million through approved financial institutions. Meanwhile, plans are in place to build a tourism entertainment academy on lands at the Montego Bay Convention Center. The Tourism Enhancement Fund has allocated $50 million to develop designs and begin construction. A national modern music grant is also being developed.
The grant will be awarded annually to 4 Jamaicans, 1 classical, 1 reggae, and 2 from the dancehall space, from the music and entertainment sectors, to pursue their professional advancement, whether they are artists, performers, sound engineers, composers, you name it.
Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, an advisory committee is being set up to examine Jamaica's plans to become a republic. This includes Jamaica moving away from having the British monarchy as head of state.
The bills to effect the agreed constitutional amendments will be reviewed by a joint select committee of Parliament and ultimately, and most importantly, Madam Speaker, submitted to the Jamaican people for them to have their say through a referendum.
Calls for Jamaica to get rid of the Queen as head of state were heightened this year when Barbados became a republic. To other news, residents on Maxfield Avenue are fuming following the fatal shooting of a man in the community minutes to midnight on Thursday. In this video received by our news center, it showed the man identified as a 39-year-old Emilia Morris, a mason of Ramsey Road, being dragged into a police van. The incident happened about 11:30 last night. This morning, residents mounted a roadblock to vent their frustration against the police killing. They say Mr. Morris was innocent. The mother of his 2 children says the circumstances leading to his death are unclear as he just recently came from prison.
Never come out of jail, and them lock him up, Them lock him up and say him go under false name. Them lock him up for that and lock him up for murder and him out in 5 months. The man a report and everything, Mr. Report. Come up now and say, Mama, I say why you come up? Because him not there here. From country him report. Him say such one there for my baby. Every blink me I talk to my baby on phone. Daddy, where you them daddy come? I said, me I go cancel my baby party. No man, me I go down after the party that I went to me.
She says the incident has affected her eldest child who wanted to be a member of the Jamaica Defence Force.
I hear about my father. I don't know my father like that. I hear something about him and the man I meet and the man I hear about. He's a jovial man I meet. And look how them take my father from me and I just know him. And every day a soldier I want turn and I respect police, every year a police suit. My son said no more.
Information from the JCF's communication unit said a firearm was seized in the incident. And it's now time for a break here on the Midday News, but please stay with us. We'll have much more when we return. Welcome back. We're continuing the news. The London-based international awarding body City and Guilds has granted permission to delay the 2022 exam sittings of mathematics and English language for 3 weeks. In a release, City and Guilds said the Education Ministry had made a request for the exam's date to be pushed back. Candidates in other Caribbean territories will also benefit from the same arrangements. The release notes that following the resumption of face-to-face classes on March 7, educational leaders believe that students are not fully prepared. It said with students being out of school for 2 years and having faced challenges with online learning, identifiable learning gaps have triggered the request from the Ministry of Education. Concerns are being raised about a brand new fire truck that was purchased for the Lucy Fire Station in Hanover. Councillor for the Lucy Division, Easton Edwards, told TVJ News that the truck, which went into operation in November last year, was only used for about 3.5 months.
Vehicles have manufacturing faults. I spoke to management there and I'm told that that extra truck that we have that was loaned out is now back in operation. And so the parish is still under good control fire is concerned.
Mr. Edwards assured residents that the problem will be fixed soon and there's no need to worry.
Are actually sourcing, and it's a timing belt for those who want to know. It's a timing belt close to the pump, and they're now sourcing it as we speak. So I'm certain that within a couple of weeks, that unit should be up and running.
At least one, we go now to the World Indoor Championships, another semi-finals in the 60 meters for women. And we go now, in the meantime, to Cody and Barrett with the Business Minute.
The World Bank has approved financing of $25 million for the Belize Climate Resilient and Sustainable Agriculture Project. The project is aimed at increasing food production capacity and the adoption of climate-smart agricultural approaches in the country. 7,000 farmers are to benefit from the program, which will provide weather data and technical information to help improve yields for crops and livestock and facilitate better planning. The project is to also provide grants to over 3,700 small farmers, enabling them to adopt climate-smart practices. And in business internationally, the owner of Burger King said the operator of its 800 stores in Russia has refused to close the sites despite demands to suspend trading. Restaurant Brands said it had contacted its local partner to shut the shops following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, but it said complicated contracts with overseas partners mean it is unable to walk away from these deals. And coming up in the Business Review this Sunday, there's a one-stop snack bar in the heart of Ocho Rios that's aiming to fulfill sweet desires. And that's it for the Business Minute this week. I'm Cody Ann Barrett.
And we now go back to the World Indoor Championships for the, another semifinals in the 60 meters for women. Edge of your seat, twists and turns, track and field never fails to disappoint. Jamaica's Brianna Williams winning her heat, qualifying for the finals. At the moment, Jamaica's Sherika Jackson is also one of the fastest losers and is likely to qualify for the finals. We now head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports.